Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar of CSAT Corner Toronto chapter on Office 365 add-ins development and Azure IoT Hub. My name is Nilesh Shah. I am the co-presenter of this webinar along with Nick Shahriar, who will be presenting after I finish. I am a tech lead working at RN Design Limited, who is a residential development firm, leading firm in Toronto. My Twitter handle is Nilesh R underscore Shah, and you can visit my website nilesh.live for all the updates and blogs. A little bit introduction about me. As I told, I am tech lead. I'm working on .NET, C Sharp, Azure, and Office 365 development. I'm the chapter lead of CSAP Corner Toronto chapter. I founded CSAP Corner Toronto chapter along with Nick Shahriar and Vivek Patel. I recently got a Microsoft MVP in Office development. I am also a CSAP Corner MVP for the year 2017-18. This is the agenda of today's webinar for add-ins development overview. First of all, we'll see why you should develop for Office 365. If you are not already developing, then you should have some motivation to start, and I'll talk about that. In add-ins development overview, we'll see the overview, types of add-ins, structure of an add-in, what it consists of, a project. When you create an add-in project, then what are the components, Office UI Fabric, which is the unified UI developed by Microsoft. Development options available if you want to start developing, how you can start and what are the different options. And in demo, I'll show you creating add-ins and how you can integrate add-ins into Office 365. We start with why Office 365 development. This is a question a developer should be asking. You may be already developing in C Sharp, ASP.NET, you may be developing an app, or you may be developing a website or a desktop application or anything. So why you should be concerned about Office 365 development? The reason is, if you are targeting Office 365 development, then you have a vast reach of customers. You look at the screen and that there are some statistics, and I have taken this slide from Microsoft. So this says us that there are so many users, millions of users day in and day out using Office products. If you consider any organization, any enterprise, then 2 to 3 hours daily a person will spend on a Microsoft Office product like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Outlook. Outlook is most widely used across organizations for communication. So if you are developing something for Office 365, that means that you have vast reach to customer and your product can be sold to this many people. Let me show you the first look at the Office 365 add-ins so that you are aware that what is we are talking about. I'm clicking on Excel. I'm creating a new file. I'm going to insert and store. This is the Office store, which shows us all the add-ins available. Let me show you a very simple one. This bubble add-in, I'm clicking on add. So what is this? This is an extra functionality, or this is something new which was not out of box when you installed Office 365 from Microsoft. I'm clicking on sample table. It has created some sample data, populated Excel worksheet with some sample data, and now you see the bubbles are generated based on the data. Consider this as a city-wise customers. So these are the city-wise customers you see. If it is plain text, if it is table format, then it is not much more visually representative as you see in the bubbles. So this is a simple most example of what is an add-in. It's an extra component that you add inside your Office application. Let me show you some another example in Word. I opened a new blank document in Word and I clicked on the Office store. I'm adding this add-in. We all use Wikipedia and we know that we go there and search for different things. So if you are day in and day out working and in Word and you very frequently use Wikipedia, then you don't need to always go and open it in the browser and search your stuff. Otherwise, you can, if you have installed this add-in, then you can directly from Word work on this website. So this is a very simple most example. Two examples I have shown you. Very simple most examples of what you can do with add-ins, and similar type of add-ins you can develop in your own code using Visual Studio, and that is the demo today. Office 365 add-ins overview. So as I told you, add-ins run inside Office application. They are not separate application on their own. They are not a separate window on their own. That's a piece of code which runs inside your Office application, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Outlook, and those interact with the contents of the Office document. As we see that you can manipulate the content, you can insert some content, you can show some representation, and those provide extra functionality. Microsoft Office products out of the box comes with a lot of functionality any user will need, but on top of it, there are many development possibilities. You can add, integrate based on your own requirement, and that is the Office 365 add-ins. In fact, it is a web application which is integrated into Office 365 products, and it is made of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You don't need anything else than this. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You make an add-in using that, and you host it on your web server, and you can simply integrate into Office 365 products. And it uses rich JavaScript APIs. Microsoft has published rich JavaScript APIs to make it easier for you to directly interact with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. There are separate APIs for Excel, separate APIs for Word and other products. It makes it easy while you are dealing with Excel, then how you can integrate with the worksheet while you are working in Word, how you can manipulate the content of a Word document. Everything is available out of box from Microsoft. If you want to start the development, the add-ins don't need a separate installation. You can just click on it's a single click. As I showed you in the earlier demo, if you click on add button, and immediately within a second you will have the availability. It consists of a manifest and web app core. So when I create a project, I'm going to show you when you create an add-in, there are two projects generated. One is the manifest, which directs or it contains the metadata, and another is the web app core. I'll show you more about this in detail later on. What Office add-ins can do for you. So this is an important question, because when you are developing something, you should be aware that what are the functionalities available or what you can do, so that you can have some idea of development and you can launch a product and release to the customers. It extends the functionality as I shown you. There are out of box, there are so many functionalities available. On top of it, you can add it as per your custom requirement in your organization. It provides the productivity enhancement. How? So there are so many charts in Excel, so many arrows and icons and everything you can insert into a Word, Excel, or PowerPoint document. On top of it, if you want to develop something on your own which is much more interactive, or it depends on your own requirement or your own idea, so that the end user gets the productivity enhancement, this you can do with the add-ins. There are so many popular third-party products and third-party functionality, and if you want to integrate your Office document with those, then you can do that. Let me give you the quick example. QuickBooks. So most of the enterprises in US and Canada use QuickBooks for accounting purpose. for each and everything like day-to-day invoice processing and everything. So there is a bunch of data, there is a lot of data of accounting department into QuickBooks. If you now want to show that data or want to deal that data into Excel or Word, then you can do that using the add-ins. Salesforce is another example. Microsoft Dynamics, the CRM product. So when enterprise work, they work on different products day in and day out. So they have different data, different important data in different applications. You can fetch that, or you can even modify that using the Excel add-ins. Bring extra data into your application. So Graph API is one example, one prime example that using Graph API, you can connect to mostly everything into Office 365 as well as some other Azure offerings like OneDrive. If you want to fetch that data which is lying into Office 365 products into your another application like Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, then you can do. There are also some third-party APIs. So many organizations launch their API. Consider an API of, let's say, Postal Department of Canada or US. They provide the API so that you pass on the zip code and you will get the address or you will get the properties who are under that zip code. So there are so many other like weather application or many. So they have launched their APIs. So as long as the API is published, it is HTTP based. You can make a call using your add-in because at the end add-in is only the web application and you can show that data. You can also earn some money by selling your add-ins because that's a commercial thing. We are all interested. You can sell your add-in into your Office platform. So as I showed you the Office store, you can submit your ad into the Office store so that other people can use it. You can monetize it as well. And if it is your for your internal purpose for your enterprise, then you can host on your own. I'm going to show you the demo how you can host on your own. This is an Office development scenario. So uh, what was the scenario before Office 2013 and after that? So before Office 2013, we still had add-ins. People were doing the development in add-ins, but they were based in COM and the name was VSTO, Visual Studio Tools for Office. If you have ever worked on it, then you know that the coding was based on the C# and it was COM based. So it is targeting the desktop application. It cannot work on a web app or it cannot work on your mobile or tablet app of Office products. You can also do the development of macro. Many people do it. I also work day in and day out on macro. That was the VBA code and extending ribbons on top of the Office products. You see them, or you get the ribbon. You can add your buttons over there. You can add your functionality. So the Office development was limited to this before the launch of Office 2013. Ever since Office 2013 as well as 2016 and Office Online, which is also referred to as Office 365, those development scenarios are still there, but they are not advised, or I don't suggest that you do some new development in that. Instead of that, you can do the development with Office 365 add-ins, which is totally web-based application development. SharePoint add-in, if your enterprise is using SharePoint, you can develop the add-ins for that. Document template, we all know that when we want to create some new document in Word or Excel, there are templates available like for making resume or for making some poster. You can do the development for that. Uh, today's uh, uh, today's webinar is concentrated only on Office 365 add-ins. Developer advantage. So we are all developers and we are always looking for that what's in it for me. If I am a developer, then what's in that development for me? So very first advantage is unified development. Microsoft Office products run on the desktop. They can be run from the browser going to office.com. There are Android and iOS apps also for all the Microsoft products like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, Outlook. So when you are targeting the development using Office 365 add-ins format, then you have to develop only once, and the same product will work in any of this family named as a desktop app, mobile app, or online browser based. Choice of platform, your development choice is not limited to C Sharp. Microsoft gives you the choice, either you can do the development in plain JavaScript or Angular or React or Vue.js, and day by day more and more platforms are being integrated. At the end of the day, it's HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So JavaScript can be anything. There are ready building blocks. You don't have to start you don't have to start programming from very scratch. There are ready-made building blocks which are very helpful. You can just decide what button you want, what label you want, what type of interface you want, and you can start coding. I'll show you that in the Visual Studio demo. And there are tools like Yeoman. If you are aware that Yeoman is a tool which allows you to create the skeleton for a project. The same has been ported for Office 365, and the name is Yeoman Office Project Generator. It is also called as Yo Office command, and I'll show the demo. It will create quickly a skeleton of the required files. You just start typing your code and you are done. Office UI framework that is launched by Microsoft to provide the unified look and feel across all the Microsoft products. There is more about Office UI framework in the next slides. This is a structure of an add-in component. It consists of the manifest and web app. So manifest and web app makes your Office add-in. Manifest is the metadata about your add-in. Who is the publisher? What is the version? The name, description, etc. All the things as well as the permissions required. Those things are in the manifest, and manifest is a plain text XML file. You can define your tags and you can specify what is this add-in is about, and the web app which consists of the actual code, and that is web page plus JavaScript. This is how you are going to launch, or this is when you use an add-in, this is what happens in the background. Let's say we are adding an add-in into our Excel. Then there is something which is hosted on the web server. It is running as a web app. You can go and browse it into your browser if you want. It will provide you the minimum UI possible. So your web app is launched somewhere, and you have manifest. So manifest tells the Office products that what is where to launch the web app, or what is the name and everything. So you you store or you publish that manifest into Office store if you are publishing for public or for monetization purpose, or if you are publishing for your own, then you can store it in your SharePoint add-in catalog, or on a network drive as well. So when you get started, whenever you click add add-in, then you are dealing with the manifest, and when you have added that in, then the manifest tells the Office application from where it has to launch the UI and the JavaScript. Types of add-ins, task pane add-in. So the example I showed you in the Word, the Wikipedia one, that was the task pane which is launched on the right side. It from there it's a separate window or a small window, so you can work on it. So that is the task pane. Content add-in, which is going to add some content inside your application, inside Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. The bubble add-in I showed you, that is the content add-in, because it added some data inside your Excel. Outlook add-ins, these are separate because Outlook on its own is a vast product, and the document or the mail are separate from Word or Excel documents. You can deal with your mail items, calendar items. You can decide what happens when some button is clicked, and there are UI sections which are known as the add-in commands. So when you click on it, then something happens in the background, or automatically when a new document is opened or a new document is saved. If you want to do some action, then you can do with the add-in commands. Earlier version, as I told, pre-Office 2013, there were two earlier versions. One is the VM add-in. So if you go in the Visual Studio and click on this Office add-in, you will get something, a template of products. and those are named as VSTO add-in. When you create those add-ins, those are based on the Visual C Sharp or VB.NET as per your choice. Apps Office. So this was the previous name. It is the same as the Office 365 add-in, but up to Visual Studio 2015, the name used for was Apps for Office, and later on, since Visual Studio 2017 onwards, the name is Office 365 add-ins. UI Fabric. So this is a set of out-of-the-box functionality available from Microsoft. So it provides a same look and feel as the Office clients. When you are developing an add-in, the add-in runs inside Excel or Word, so that when the user are running that add-in, they should not feel that they are using some third-party functionality. The look, feel, everything should be the same. The buttons, the labels, the icons, everything should be the same as the Office itself. That's why Microsoft has launched the the UI Fabric. It is based on the best practices in the web development, and this is responsive mobile first. So that when you develop something, it can work from the browser as well as it can work on your tablet, or it can work on your iOS or Android devices. And it is suitable for all platform. You can use the same one for a range of products. It offers icons, fonts, and so many other functionality. So you don't have to worry about the UI. You leave the UI to Microsoft, and using UI Fabric, the look and feel and the UI will be the same. And there are also variations. It is available as Fabric.js, which is the plain JavaScript. If you are familiar with React, if you already are the React developer, and there is Fabric React, there is Fabric Angular as well. Deploy and publish. So as a developer, you should be aware that how I'm going to deliver this to my customers. For testing, you can directly from Visual Studio. You just press F5 and Visual Studio will do the rest for you. You can do the side loading. So what is the side loading is you host or temporarily run your web application of Office add-in from one place, and you can see that into your Excel or Word product. If the add-in is internal to your organization, you are using for your organization, then these are the options. The admin of the Office 365 from the admin portal, the admin can push it to the users. So when the user logs in, they will see the add-in add-in feature. There is also an add-in catalog in SharePoint. You can also host Outlook only add-ins into Exchange server, and at the end of the day, you require only the XML manifest file. So that manifest file you can store it somewhere on your network drive and tell the user that use this file from this network share, and it can work. I'm going to show you the demo for that. If it is for commercial purpose or public offering, then you can integrate into your app source Office store. You can register as a developer and you can submit, and Microsoft will validate, and if it is all the validation criteria is met, then it will be published. If you want to publish to Office store, then you have to register as an app developer with Microsoft Office. You can go to this URL and you can register. There is some fee involved. So if you are sure that your product is going to be purchased, your add-in is going to be purchased by the user, and if you want to charge $1, $5, $10, whatever as per your add-in, then you can do that, but you have to pay some fees for that registration. How to get started? If you want to start developing, then what you can do with the Visual Studio 2015. The name is Apps for Office. In 2017 onwards, the name is Office 365 add-in, and it is not to be confused with the VSTO because that is a separate one. Yeoman has the Office generator, which will generate the add-in skeleton for you, and then you can use any editor of your choice. You don't require anything else apart from Notepad or some editor because it is only plain text development. You can use Visual Studio Code, which is most widely used and most favorite among among the freelance developers, I'll show the demo of Yeoman and Visual Studio Code as well. So it's time for the demo. We are on track on our time. Let me show you first the Visual Studio demo in which I'll show VSTO and apps for Office. I'm clicking on Visual Studio 2015. I'm clicking on New Project. You will see a new project window into which there are so many options inside Visual Studio. We have to go through this Office / SharePoint. Here all the products are on, all the tablets are displayed. You can click on apps and this is the apps for Office. Office add-ins, this is the previous version. VSTO, as I told, let me quickly create a VSTO add-in so that you see what was the earlier format. And if you see here, the project is nothing but only the C# file. If you go to the Solution Explorer and you see that there is only C# file, there is nothing else. So it is not very rich in content in terms of helping the developers to get started. You can manually create an add-in file and then you can get started. But this is the very first version of development of add-ins, VSTO. We are not going to do the development with this, so I am closing this solution and I'm creating a new project. This is the apps for Office. As I told, the earlier name up to Visual Studio 2015 was apps for Office. I am using the Visual Studio Professional 2015 version. I am clicking on apps for Office. Let the name and everything remain as it is. It is going to ask me that which type of add-in you want to develop. In the previous slide of the types of add-in, I have told you that Pane add-ins who run on a separate inside your Office applications. There are content add-in who add some content, and there are mail add-in who is for which are for the Outlook. So even if you see here, the development choices are limited to only Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and Outlook. I'm clicking on next and I'm quickly selecting only Excel. It is taking some time to create the project. Please bear with it. Now the project has been created by Visual Studio. As I told earlier, the add-in consists of two things. One is the manifest and another is a web app. So you see here there are in the solution there are two projects. First is the manifest project, which has only the Excel file. This is the interface has been shown to you. The background it is the XML file. And you see here, this is the plain text XML file, which is known as the manifest, which contains the details of the metadata about the add-in, the ID which should be unique, the version number, the provider name, the local, display name, description, whatever you want to see. And this is the most important information in the manifest file, that where you are going to launch it. So this can consist to any other server. If you are hosted the web app project on another server, just give the path of the entry screen and everything else will be handled by Microsoft Office. This is for the local demo version. That's why by default it is like that. If you see the another project, then this is where your actual coding is going to be. At the end of the day, as I told, it's going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you see here the HTML, there are some other files. but our main logic or main code is inside this. If you see here in HTML, then it's plain HTML with head and body, and there are some buttons and everything inside that. JavaScript is for like basic functionality. CSS, it is for you because till that the integration is not very good. So if you are going to start something new, then I suggest you start with 2017 because it provides you the rich set of functionality or rich options compared to 2015 version of Visual Studio. So that's the Visual Studio 2015 demo I have shown you. Now let me show you the Visual Studio 2017 demo, and I will also explain you the code here. I'm clicking on create new project, and similarly you see under Visual C Sharp there is Office and SharePoint category, and here this is the simple add-in. This is the Office 365 add-in. VSTO is still there, SharePoint is still there, but our concern or our focus is this add-in. I'm clicking on Excel quickly, and it is asking again the same question, what type of add-in you want to develop. So I'm selecting by default whatever there is. Now the new project is being generated here. So the new project has been generated, and the structure is similar to in Visual Studio 2015. There is a manifest file here, but if you see the manifest file contains much more content. Previously in 2015, there are only uh, 8 to 10 lines. Here, it is much more detail, so you can specify much more detail about your add-in in 2017 project. And for your information, I am using the Visual Studio 2017, the community edition. So if you want to start development, then I suggest you install the community edition of Visual Studio 2017. It provides each and every functionality, very rich functionalities, and it is free of cost. Here you see in the project itself, inside content you see the Fabric UI. As I told you that Microsoft has launched the Fabric UI, which provides you the unified look and feel across all the Office products. These are your three files: the home HTML, which is the UI, CSS for the styling, and JavaScript, where your some sample code is. So what this add-in is doing, let me show you first by running it, and then I'll show you the code. I'm clicking on F5. So this is the test run of Visual Studio. It is showing you the message. I'm clicking on Show Task Pane, and this was the name of my project, Office add-in 4. This one, and it is a sample. What it has done is when you launch the add-in, it has added some sample data here. I'm selecting the data, and this is about highlighting the highest value. I'm clicking on highlight. You see it has generated some random data. Out of that, it identifies what is the highest value. So this is a very simple, very basic example of an add-in being generated for you. And at the end of this, if you see here the content ranging from sample to the button, this is the web app or your web page directly running here. Let me show you quickly in Visual Studio. the HTML file, which has the buttons over here, getting started message and everything. And the highlight button is here, the text and everything, the label is being added from the JavaScript. So you modify it to your requirement, your buttons or your labels, and it will be shown in that. The CSS is very basic. I'm not going to going into detail in that. The JavaScript, which is where you will write all your code, is here. So this is the initialize function. It has the reason argument. The reason is important because it decides that what is happening, whether the add-in is being added in the Office application for the very first time, or it is already added but you are reopening the document. So based on the reason, you can specify the condition if you want to do something welcome message for the very first time or a different message when it is opened again. In this sample project, the reason argument is not used. What is being here is it is setting the data and displaying some sample text, and the highlight button, the button we see over here, the highlight button, on click of it, it is being added, and a function has been being called in the click event, and it is loading the sample data. So that you see here, this sample data is generated by this function, and it is just some mathematical functions being used, and with a random function some data is populated. Our main concern is this one, highlight one. So it has to identify out of the selected range. It gets the selected range like this. So whenever you click on this one, it gets the selected range using this function. This is the Excel API, which I told you that ready-made Microsoft has launched for you, and you can use it directly. You are getting that this is a simple logic. You identify one value as highest, and then you look through all the values, and at the end you decide what is the highest value. Once you have decided the highest value, then you are highlighting it. You are marking that cell as the cell to highlight using the get cell. Ultimately what you want is a row and column which has been decided in the above code. And then what you are doing, you in the fill color you are doing orange, and you are making it bold. So you see here the fill color is orange and making it bold. So this is very simple, easy to get started. This I'm closing this one. Another demo is Yeoman Office add-in project generator. So before I show you this demo of Yeoman, I have gone to the Yeoman project generator page, and I have installed things. First is the node.js. Every dependency is from the node.js, and then this Office project generator project in the node I have installed that Office generator from Yeoman, and the command is uoffice. So go to the command prompt. I am running the command prompt as an administrator. I'm not sure if the audience is able to view it. Okay, let me increase the font size. And now you should be able to view it properly. I'm writing the simple command uoffice. Remember, before this one, if you directly write on your PC, it will not work. Before this, I have installed the node package, and I have installed the office generator. I'll show you the links where you can get that. I'm clicking on your office. I'm sorry, before that, I have to exit because I mistakenly executed that command in system32. We have to go to the folder where we want to generate. So I'm clicking on close, running it again. I have specially created a folder which is in the C drive and Office add-in folder. Here you see the content is empty. I am going to generate an add-in in this folder. I am going to that folder and running that command again, new Office. It is asking me that what would you like to do? Would you like to create a subfolder? I'm saying yes. Name, I'm quickly doing webinar demo. Which type of add-in you want to see? I'm saying Excel. Then do you want to create a new project entirely, or you have the project and you want to generate only the manifest file? I'm clicking on the new project. I'm not using TypeScript. It is asking me which type, Angular or jQuery. I'm using jQuery. This is about some welcome file. I'm saying no, and now it is being created. I have to quickly finish this demo because it's a time for another presenter. So it is getting some packages and doing some background work. Please, the task has been done. And you see here webinar demo folder has been generated, and these are the files being generated. The manifest file is here and other files. I'm quickly opening it into right click and open with code. I have already installed the Visual Studio Code, and you see the file here. All your HTML file and manifest file, everything is here. I'm quickly showing you the demo how you can run. I'm going to view and integrated terminal, and I'm writing npm start. So this is, you see the HTML, CSS, JavaScript inside your web page. So this is the web application. You integrate this, and this will quickly run into your Office add-ins. I cannot show you more details than this because I have to hand over to the another presenter. Otherwise, we'll not have time for the Azure IoT presentation. So all the links will be published. I'm going to publish this into a slide deck, and you will have these slides with you. Next is our corner events are listed here if you are interested. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. And now I'm handing over to Nick.
Hello, anyone can hear me? Everyone, can someone send a text or anything? A message? Okay, I've only got 31 minutes left. Hopefully everyone's hearing what I'm saying. My name is Sharia Nika. I go by the name Nick. Today's presentation is about IoT Hub and Power BI. And I just got a text. Yes, everyone can hear me. So today's presentation is about IoT Hub and Power BI via Stream Analytics. So what does it mean? So we'll go through it and I'll explain what it is. So just want to thank Microsoft, Microsoft Canada, C# Corner, Nilesh, specifically Nilesh, for getting this presentation and webinar and everything related to C# Corner for us. Just want to thank them very much. And SQL Data Site Incorporated is my company. So a lot about me. I'm a tech lead at Finastra and D&H. I do lots of presentations at lots of companies. At Finastra and D&H, I'm a team lead for data migration, generally very high level. We create hundreds of packages, SSIS packages in 40 seconds. And in the BI, we do very hardcore BI and very professional. My passion is data related. You can check my blog, which is sqldatasite.blog.ca, and my other information, which we will be posting. So all about the chapter, I'm not going to go there, but you know Nilesh, Vivek Patel, and me. C# Corner, great community. Please go and register. We are close with Toronto BI. Sorry, I have to go a little bit fast because I've only got less than 25 minutes. And about today's agenda. So my focus today is to teach you how to learn, basically how to deal with IoT Hub, how to set it up. I'm looking at it from a development perspective. Hopefully, developers will understand the basics and get the ball rolling and understand. Requirements, again, we're going to post this. I want to save a little bit time, but story short, you definitely need Azure subscription. And of course, you need data knowledge and a little bit about simulators or some hardware devices. So let's talk about hardwares. Okay, so long time ago, some big companies, manufacturing companies, production lines, they buy some kind of machinery, and a good example is like extrusion. What is an extrusion? Extrusion is a machine that injects, basically it makes plastic. Any kind of plastic you see, like your mouse, it's an injector. It goes into a mold, injects. So that mold, that machine generates some kind of meter. You know, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it, you know, like heavy? Is it light? So in the old days, they used to copy this in a floppy disk and send it, because that machine was like 2 million euro, 3 million euro. Something went wrong. They wanted to solve it instantly. So the best way was, you know, copy a floppy disk and so on and so forth. Today, we have new technology, which is the cloud. Basically, you can basically, your hardware, which is your car these days, says information somehow to the satellite, and it goes to Azure, to the Azure world. And again, someone is monitoring, or some kind of system is basically checking what you're doing. On top of that, there are some devices that they have a black box. An aeroplane is a good example. In the future, all the trucks are going to have black box because of the accidents that they're having, and so on and so forth. Okay, simulators. What is a simulator? So let's talk about the industry. So if I want to start working on a device, on an IoT hub, or on a hardware, I need to basically go and get hired there. Or if I want to buy one, it's gonna cost me millions of dollars. So it's impossible. I cannot investigate on a Rolls-Royce engine. I cannot go in a refinery and register and say, hey, can I do some tests? I cannot buy hardware. So what do? I try to create a program with C# and basically generate those numbers, generate those figures that machine generally generates. Let's pick an example. So a Rolls-Royce airplane engine has fuel pumps. The fuel pumps has a speed, they have a heating sensors, and so on. So what happens if I create my own C# code that says engine number 1, heat, pump number 1, heat, and the heat, I generate some kind of random numbers. But I have to know what these numbers are. I have to at least have an idea. Basically, what I'm trying to do is as a developer, what is the cheapest way for me to learn these technologies without getting hired, or basically how could I get myself ready for the market in the future market. So this is today's model. This is exactly what I'm going to go through, and I've got 26 minutes, so hopefully we can wrap it up. So just think of it as from a development perspective, think of it as a one-way street from left to right. So what is an IoT component? That was the same. I'm just going to go back to the previous. Just imagine this generates some kind of information, or some of these environments, they're generating some kind of information. A good example is, they call them IoT components. A good example at your home is your garage door. So when you open your garage door, there's a kind of a device like a Raspberry Pi that basically sends a signal to your door through your remote and opens up the door. That could be set up through a Wi-Fi to an IoT gateway, to IoT Hub and Stream Analytics and Power BI. So what are these? Let's go through them one by one. IoT component is a hardware. Like an airplane engine, or your garage door opener, or your I don't know, your car even, has a kind of a sensor, a heating sensor, or your refrigerator. IoT gateway is basically a kind of a software that connects your device to the cloud. So that device could be a laptop, that device could be an airplane engine, or your garage door opener, as an example. What is an IoT Hub? An IoT Hub is a device, it's a service in Azure that understands or identifies what kind of hardware you have. Well, let's not say what kind. That's the registration area. So I can open up an IoT Hub and then say, hey, I'm gonna register hardware, and it's gonna generate some information. So IoT Hub will register it and basically say, oh, this, I'm getting 5 registers. Let's come up with an example. An airplane engine might have 20 fuel pumps. So IoT Hub will say, oh, 20 fuel pumps are registered. It doesn't use the word pump. I'm just trying to give you guys an example so you can imagine how it looks like, okay? What is Azure Stream Analytics jobs? You might say, why the word jobs? We don't see it. Well, you will see it in lots of documentation, and in lots of them, you don't see the word job. So Stream Analytics, just think of it like a pipeline. Basically, you pour what is in the pipeline. There's water moving from A to B. Stream Analytics does the same thing. It gets information from the IoT Hub and pushes it to SQL Server, as an example. So it plays the role of a middleman from left to right. If you imagine, from left is your IoT Hub, and it brings it and it pushes to the right to SQL Server or Power BI, or even some other machine learning, and so on and so forth. And Power BI is a visualization, I'm sure you guys all know. And my belief about Power BI is the future print button in basically in all of Microsoft products. So let's go through a little bit, one step more deeper in different architecture. So if you can see, I have a Stream Analytics, and the Stream Analytics can talk to other components, which we're not going to be talking about today. So the Event Hub, Blob Storage, and of course IoT Hub, which is I'm going to present. And on the right, if you can see on the top, we've got SQL Server, and we've got Power BI. So I will be presenting this part, and another part which is not here, which is the IoT Hub. This is in a very high level. So again, Stream Analytics, this is a little bit more detailed. So you got the Stream Analytics, you can connect from the left side to the IoT Hub. That's what I'm interested in. And in this picture, it shows you devices, the type of devices that are common for people. I'm not interested in these kind. I'm interested in refineries, in airplane engines, production lines. So I think they should have put an extra icon here about production lines or things like preventive maintenance. And as you can see, machine learning, Power BI, and SQL Server on top here. So Another architecture. Why am I saying this? Why am I showing variety of architectures? Is if you don't see variety of architectures, you will not learn. Here's a good example. So today I'm gonna present IoT Hub, Stream Analytics, and Power BI. This is the route. But the question is, why do we have two? Stream Analytics can support two multiple destinations, but in this case, I have two Stream Analytics that is doing the job. Well, the reason is it's a job. Just imagine SQL Server job. If you turn it off, what does it do? It's off. It doesn't turn on. It does not transfer the data. As I said, consider Stream Analytics as a pipeline in between point A to point B. If you turn it off, the data doesn't go through, and that's it. So what's the best way to continuously have it? A good example is have multiple parallel Stream Analytics job at the same time. One that you will deposit all the time, maybe one for visualization or for any other purposes. This is another architecting design. So in this scenario, you have to understand things like data in motion and data in rest. So data in motions, it's not about your car moving. No. Data in motion, it means constantly there's something sending a signal, whether it's a car, whether it's some kind of heart devices, and so on. Data is at rest. So data at rest is a good example is airplane black box. So sometimes the airplane has disconnected with the cloud or with the internet somehow, but it's always capturing these information in a black box. So when the airplane lands, they plug it in, and basically, as you can see down here, all the data goes all the way down here, and it goes into SQL Server and it rests here. So basically, what they're trying to say is that the data that was captured in a different environment can be centralized in the cloud. Okay, so let's just skip this. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. So what did we? Let's do a small review. This is the real world. The real world is a hardware. I cannot afford this. I cannot buy this airplane engine or this hardware. So what can I do? I'm going to cross this out and replace it with a simulator as a C. So whatever I was doing with this operator, I'm going through that hardware, I'm going to do it through a simulator. So the simulator will send IoT Hub information, and that will send it to Stream Analytics. And in our scenario, we're just going to talk about Power BI. Okay, so what is a simulator? As I said, it's a .NET code or a C# code that you can go and download for free. We will provide the links, and the links are right in front of you. And basically, you can set up an environment, or depends on the simulator that you're downloading, and you can run it and fire it off, and that's where the IoT Hub will capture it. So this part, just to, oops. So this part is technically this part that I'm gonna explain. Okay, so real quick, this is the simulator. This is heating simulator. You can register each heating sensors. As you can see, the heating sensors are time-stamped, their temperature. It's a C++ code, and here's the link. So it's generating these information while it's working. So I have to go a little bit. We're gonna skip the demo because we've only got less than 17 minutes. So Azure IoT Hub. So let's go Azure IoT Hub. How are we gonna set up the Azure IoT Hub? This is a good example, and I'm gonna just show you the environment, how it looks like. This is the real thing. This is the Azure IoT Hub. This is the Stream Analytics. There is no line connection in between them. Here you can see we are in the cloud, people, and we'll just pick this one a little bit more because to save a little bit time. So I'm gonna start doing this setting. How do I do that? Let's start one by one. So, you click Add, you give your IoT Hub a name, you pick the standard tier or the free version. There's a free version for developers, and basically you just select and create, and you're done. So right now I just created the IoT Hub. What does it mean? It means I just created this. Okay, so going back is now there's some connection string. So it's just imagine like a SQL Server database. It has connection string. So you need to capture these connection string, and you have to go to the policy section, extract the connection, and use it in your simulator, because the simulator has to know what Azure IoT environment that it has to connect. Okay, So that was the IoT Hub and about the Stream Analytics. So now the IoT Hub is set up. The Stream Analytics comes in place. So there's two things about Stream Analytics. One is again, as the source, and one is the destination. So how do I set up the Stream Analytics? So let's start. So this is what we're looking for. We set up Stream Analytics. We give it a name, and then finally we're done. What did I create? Let's go back. This is what it just created. Okay. Let's go back. So, but it's not finished. Stream Analytics has a little bit twist to it. So it has an input, output, and a query. So let's go through that. So before we put anything, there are no signals coming in. I don't see any signals. Okay. So story short, I give the input a name, and I give the IoT Hub. This is the IoT Hub that we just created, right? How do I do it? We just select add. We give the IoT Hub. I want to connect to IoT Hub, and it says, okay, you've only got one IoT Hub. Is that the one? Yes. If not, you can create another one. And finally, we're done. So you have to understand your source and your destination are going to be some kind of a table. So think of it as a SQL Server 2 SQL Server table. We'll get there. Okay. So your input is a table. Now it's about the output. Now we're talking about outputs, okay? So my output is Power BI, and I'm gonna call it Power BI. So how do I do it? I just select the add, give it a name, Stream IoT. I need the Power BI, and it says, okay, what is the data set you want to name it at the destination? Again, the select statement is not there yet, but this is how it's done. But remember, let me just go back. Please remember this name. This is very critical. I will tell you why later on. So bottom line, we've got the source, we've got the destination, and finally now it's about the select statement. If you see, we just set up the input, we set up the output, but this part is missing. So what do I do? Again, I check there's no pulse coming in. Nothing is working yet. So if you remember the names that we picked, Stream Analytics, Power BI, these names are here. So story short is that Microsoft gives you this as a standard to begin with. You replace it with this. This is on the right side. This is what I typed in. That has to be replaced by the standard select statement right from the middle of the screen. Okay. So now I've got my Stream Analytics set up. So the question is, how do I turn it on? Stream Analytics has a job. You can click now and start a job. So just to show you visually, if I click here, give me a second. I just want to check how many more minutes. Oh, 13 minutes. Oh, not bad. Okay. So if you remember, now I can put my select statement here. I've got my input here. I've got my output here, and I can start the job. Which in this scenario, I don't want to do it. We're going to lose time. And I just want to do the presentation and finish it. So now once I start the job, I see some pulse. So where do I see this pulse again? Let's go back. If you scroll down here, you can see these menus that will just generate the graph. So I've got a screenshot of them, and it says, oh, pulse. And what is this pulse? Where is it coming from? It's coming from the simulator, from the C# code. So basically, I just created a proof of concept in a couple of hours without paying millions of dollars or getting myself involved in other approaches of providing these type of data. Okay. So now, if you remember the name that I told you, this is the same name. Power BI. Sorry, Stream Analytics sneaks into Power BI and creates that data set. So where is this data set? I just want to go back one more time, just a little bit. This is it. Who created this? Stream Analytics created this in Power BI. So that was the name that I asked you just to remember, which we can see here, and it's very clear. So let's see how we're going to use this in Power BI. So I've got the data set sitting there, and it's a Stream Analytics, guys. Remember, so data is constantly coming. It's firing off to Power BI. So Power BI, if I create a report with the devices, so let's go back a little bit. So I have a temp, it's the temperature. I have the ID is the ID device, and I've got time, what time it got generated. Okay, so these are the 3 items that I have. Okay, let's go back in Power BI. These are the 3 items, if you can see, temperature, by time, by ID. This is exactly what I have. And I will create a report on it. I'm going to call it IoT Hub, and I can see all of the 9 devices that I had in my simulator, in my C# code. My C# code had, well, 10 technically, had 10 devices. Okay. So I can see this graph. This graph is, I can select and deselect it. It will work perfectly, no problem. But there will be some problems. One of them is it's going to squish, it's going to give you all of the data from the second you turn it on. So if you come next day, you will still hundreds and hundreds of, you'll see an impact. They will be squashed together, all the graphs, and it won't be visible in a way that could be analyzed. But let's see how we can optimize it, how we can see it a little bit better. So if you pin that, so this is a report. I just want to make it clear. This is a report. And on the right side in this section, there's a pin option, a pin. So this is the same report. And you can go under here, and there's a pin option. When you pin it, it will go to a dashboard. Of course, you give it a name. In this case, I gave it an IoT Hub. And you can see the graph. The graph, if you look at the timeline, it's different again. At the bottom, I just put a higher screenshot. You will see data moving now. As your C# code is sending signals, at the same time, you're seeing these moving forward. It's very, very interesting. But another problem, if you come back another day, you'll see this graph in full of so many lines, so much squashed together, it's not visible very professionally. So we got to find another way to clean the old data, let's say every 10 minutes, okay? So what do? Very easy. You go to your workshop, you go to your dashboard, and on top you click create dashboard. You do not create stream dataset. Be careful, that's a mistake I always make when I'm in a rush. Do not create dataset. So in your dashboard, it will, give it a dashboard name and OK, and it says, and it has in the middle, it has an option called add tile. Now you select real data time. Now in this real data time, the graph that you're selecting is different than the graph that you select from the toolbox. Guys, heads up. This is a mistake that everyone makes. They think a line chart in the toolbox is the same as the line chart here. No, it's not. Because this line chart has different abilities. A good example is the window display, time window display. It's got a sliding window features, which line charts do not have such a thing. Okay. So there's some other settings that you have to confirm. And finally, the time window to display is 1 minute, or however it's convenient for you to understand the data. So this is what you see now. If you had set it on 10 minutes, you will only see 10 minutes range. You won't see yesterday's or 2 hours ago. So I got a screenshot from here because this is the time when I turned on the job, or when it was I created the graph. I don't remember which one it was, but that's where it started. And as it goes by, just imagine the window is sliding with the graph. So it means it will not display the old data. It has its own limitation, but this is about displaying data. It's not about analyzing it. So it's a very good tool when it comes to this part. And finally, let's see the before after. So if I go back, this is what I'm trying to show you. If I go back, if I turn my Power BI on within 2 days, and assuming my C# is still firing off within 2 days, which is going to be very costly for me, I will see this. As I told you, the graphs will be squashed together on the left side. This is a line chart, but the one on the right is not a line chart. It's a real-time data. So this is a different line chart. This is a slightly moving window, and the other one is not. Okay, and that's about it. Hopefully, let me see how many more minutes. Yes, 6 minutes maybe for questions. We will be having another we will be having other webinars down the road. I'm not sure exactly when. I will have another presentation on May 31st at Microsoft, and we will have another presentation which we're not sure when, but that will be at Microsoft as well. And thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and I think we've got less than 5 minutes for questions or anything that's required. So, and I'm gonna hand it over to Nilesh, if that's okay, or can you take over? Hello?
Yes, please.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone has any questions?
So thanks, Nick, for presenting on Azure IoT Hub. Please keep watching the CSAP Corner page of the CSAP Corner website, Toronto chapter, and we'll list all the events. We will host the events on various topics at Microsoft and other locations, and we host also the webinars. So please keep watching this CSAP Corner Toronto chapter for your technical knowledge. And if you are a newcomer, or if you know someone is a newcomer in Toronto, CSAP Corner Toronto chapter is hosting a newcomer meetup on next Saturday at Vaughan Public Library. Please the CSAP Corner page for more details. Thank you very much for connecting. If you don't have any more question, then I'm stopping it. Thanks, Nick, for presenting again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Nick, I think you can stop it. I cannot.
Okay.
Or simply